Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. I am Z,
And I am F.
and it has been a while, but we've
It has.
decided that we wanted to take some time to play The Last of Us Part 2, which took us
Oh boy. A
far
month.
longer than we thought it would. And
Took us a good little bit.
now we're doing a little podcast. We decided to do a little just for our
Kinda like
Fortnite
a-
talk and review podcast thing.
Yeah, a little review type esque thing on our thoughts of the game. We know we're a little late to the party, but we really took our time with
But
it.
we also decided that our opinions are the ones that matter when it comes
Yeah.
to looking at reviews. So.
To the 76 people, and then the more that would like to subscribe.
Yeah. So The Last of Us
Also,
Part 2.
So beginning the game really starts off strong. We're going to do two different videos. This video, first of all, is going to be as spoiler free as we can make it. But I mean, just about an hour. Most people should see pretty much almost everything, but we'll just keep it spoiler free. So this is your spoiler free, just kind of saying there. We do apologize if we do slide something in there, but for the most part,
Well, and for the most part, for the footage, it'll be just the beginning parts of the game with Ellie
yeah,
that I had recorded offhandedly as I was playing.
yeah. There's
a little something
no one
to
else
watch.
you play as. No one else you play as.
Um,
Make sure you check out the second video.
if you played it, I mean, if you want spoilers or whatever.
Yeah.
So, Forrest, what was your first of all? Let's just overall. What are your impressions of the game? What would you say someone who has no idea about the game? How did you feel about the game after finishing it?
I would say it's definitely like an emotionally invested game. It was I loved it. I did, as much as I love like every part of it, I did feel like at some point it dragged on a little bit. And they're like classic Naughty Dog fashion is they kind of trick you. It's like, oh, this is the ending. Just kidding. You're gonna keep going for another 5 hours, and that's what kind of like. There were a few times in the game where you're just like, oh my gosh, like it just slumps down. It's like, what the heck? I have to go through this whole thing again, or whatever it may be. But I still like not giving that. I thought it was still a fantastic game. I loved every part of it.
Yeah, so the one thing I've been telling people is they're like, "Man, how did you like the game?" And I'm like, "Well, you know what? I felt like crap afterwards. I just didn't. It's not a good feel game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
It's an emotional game, and it is a game that leaves you thinking. And I would say though, as far as game mechanically plays, a lot of people don't like it. I've been seeing online, but I think it plays really well. Like most games, you got to get a little bit used to it. The dodging mechanic for me personally was the hardest part to get used to, which was really surprising.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, like, just timing it. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird timing, I feel like. But mechanically speaking, crafting things, and I really love how difficult it was to aim at first, and then you get a little bit better, and you get a little bit of upgrades, and you can aim. So mechanically speaking, it's really good, on par with the first one. Which, if anyone watched live streams, you could see that Forrest was a pro at throwing bricks at things. And it's a narrative masterpiece. Absolutely a narrative masterpiece. The storytelling from Naughty Dog, always a 10 out of 10. And
absolutely.
This is a 10 out of 10 Naughty Dog game, because essentially that's all they make anymore. Ever since, like, Uncharted 2, that's what well, maybe after The Last of Us Part 1, but, like, they just make 10 out of 10 games.
Yeah, they don't really do a multiplayer anymore, but which kind of surprised me with the whole mechanical thing. People don't like it. People didn't really like the first one either, but that's just the game. I mean, it's just, I don't know what you guys are expecting at that point too. You're supposed to be slow, grungy. Even with Ellie being more agile than Joel in the first game, she's still slow. She doesn't have much control over the game's not meant to be there to feel like a video game. It's meant to feel like real life emotionally and just
Yes. Let's talk about,
everything.
for a second, killing something or someone in that game. Let's talk about, like, Call of Duty, Fortnite, anything like that. If you kill someone, you move on. Star Wars, you just pew pew,
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
This game,
Yeah.
you sit there, you shoot someone, you're like, I just killed a person. Like,
Yeah.
it is
Like you
weighty.
see
It is
their
heavy.
eyes. You see their eyes like look at you and just like them, the pure struggle of just trying to just survive. And
Yes.
it's just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I want to
It's
talk
not-
about an experience I had, actually. actually.
Okay.
I was with Ellie, or I was Ellie, and I'm there's a group of 3 people after me, and I shoot 2 of them, and the third one, I hit them, but I don't immediately kill them, and they come out and they drop their gun, they get to their knees, and they have their hands up, and they say, "Please, please, please." And so what do you do? I walk up with a lead pipe, and I hit the melee button. And I executed that guy right there. And I was like,
Oh, no.
I just sat there and I was like, I just did it. I just executed that guy. And I just like walked away. In my wrists, I felt like this tension, like this guy was begging for his life, and I just smashed his head with a pipe. Like that was insane to me. Like what game does that? Like what game makes you feel like I just executed a person? It's normally like, oh, shoot him and survive. It was like, no, I just walked up. That guy was begging for his life, and I was like, nope.
Heck no. I actually didn't have that experience at all.
Really?
No, that didn't happen to me at all. I swiftly killed a lot of my people, and if I was going loud, I fully committed to going loud. It's just like, okay, this is how we're doing. And like I felt bad at first killing the dogs, but then like,
oh my gosh,
through the game, then I'm just like, no. It's like those are the first guys to die. It's just
well, yeah, okay. First of all, the dog mechanic so good. They can sniff you out.
It adds
Love
another
that.
feature.
Because then you're like, I have to get rid of that dog. And I love dogs. And I was like, I don't want to kill a dog, but I was like, I have to kill that dog. Like immediately.
Yeah.
Like that's what I have to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was, but I love the game, especially. I mean, everyone's kind of seen the trailers when you're in Seattle. That's absolutely hardly anything of the game. Like there's so much more to the game than that. But I did like that part a lot, especially. I guess a minor spoiler is a song that Ellie plays for Dina, and I thought that was fantastic. They showed a lot of heart, and they showed a lot of everything. And actually, like, so come to think of it, like Joel and Ellie, I actually really liked the characters they added. I thought they were all fantastic, and I thought they really had depth to the characters, and I liked them across the entire game. All like in the next video, we'll talk about a little more, but the second half of the game I thought was stronger than the first half. It's just the first half like kind of wore me down.
Yeah, absolutely. Every character had a purpose and added to the narrative, 100%.
Yeah, I mean there were times like it was frustrating though because there's so much death in this game, like absolute so much death. It's ridiculous, and so you do something to try to help this person, and then this person will just die like the next chapter.
Oh my
You're just
gosh.
like,
Dude, that kills me that you just brought that up. That was like, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that I was like, why? I'm pretty sure I texted you.
It wasn't just
after that.
once. It was literally just like a couple times. You would do something for someone, and then they would just like, boom, they're dead. Everyone just dies around you, and it's just like the game is so heavy on just.
It is a story of revenge, and it is a story of a lot of death and dealing with that death. Yeah.
There's a lot of revenge in that.
All right, Forrest, I got another question for you.
Okay.
As a former person who lived in Seattle, how did that feel to you, traveling in Seattle in this game?
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was like I saw some landmarks, and I thought it was cool, but it was Seattle was pretty broken down. So I mean, and it was a fairly small part of Seattle. It was only like a few blocks. They were saying like, oh, it's a really big part. And, like on Uncharted 4, it was probably half the size of Uncharted 4, the Madagascar place. I would say it was decent size, but
I felt like they did it like they took a small part and made it feel really big. That's how I felt. Like you'd spend a whole day being like, I have to get to this spot, and then you'd spend the entire like 2 or 3 hour mission just getting to that one spot, and it was rough getting there, and you're like, oof.
I did like every building just felt different. You had something else to do, and it was I loved the Seattle part. But it's just funny because it's like the smallest part of the game. Like it's just there's so much more to the game than that whole Seattle part.
Are you talking about like the big open area Seattle part?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was funny. Actually, you say it's the shortest part of the game. I feel like that's like the longest part of the game, exploring that area. Yeah, I mean, like obviously, as like a part of the game, it's a very small part. But like that, I think I spent the most time there. Like even when you were talking about like there were just things that I realized that a lot of people who I talked to afterwards, they played it and they were like,
Mhm.
"Did you know this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I explored Seattle. I found the guitar shop." And they were like, "Oh, I missed that my first run through." And I was like, "Oh, you did?" Like,
Really? Oh no, I every bit of the game I explored as much as I could.
I'm
I
sure I
it's just
missed a couple safes because I didn't get that like little achievement, but I
yeah.
think I like 95, 99% of things.
I'm still gonna go through it again, try to 100% it, but is
Very
there's just like
very easy platinum. I feel like. Well, maybe not
oh
easy,
yeah,
but
I mean it's just a long game, so there's a lot to do, but
yeah, like getting the
especially
upgrades and stuff. Yeah.
especially later in the game you play as Ellie in like a different part that's not in Seattle. I thought that part was so much fun. It was so different. And it's just I love the callbacks to the first game too, and they talk about fireflies quite often. They don't just completely disable, and they talk about Ellie and Joel's just because like after the first game it was such a big like ending. It was just like, well, what the heck just happened? And it's they talk about that, and I thought
Hmm.
they handled it very well. And people had a problem with the story, and I don't really understand what type of problem they had. It's just, especially at the ending, like I was expecting with how big of a problem they have because I didn't have the ending spoiled for me. I full on thought this certain thing was going to happen, or one of the other things was going to happen. And then when I finally got to the ending, I just like I was satisfied because the way I looked at it is it's a story of revenge. And so what happens is just I really probably shouldn't talk about it with
It's
a
hard without
spoiler,
spoilers.
but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like even
But
like the main drive of the game would be a massive spoiler, and so like, yeah, that's hard. That's hard not to. I know exactly what you're saying right now, though.
but it's I just don't understand why people had a problem with the story. I felt like the story was incredibly realistic. Like it's just it felt like it was real, and it was like real situations would happen, and those people would actually do those actions that they took. I mean, I
Well,
just
one of the things I think I really appreciated about the narrative is that like there's some pretty controversial, like ideas they put into this game,
uh,
um, but they really just don't shy away from any of it. They really contemplate like psychological way people like who people are, why
yeah,
people are act the way they do, the value of life. Like there are some things that like as a person I'd be like, well, I disagree with that. Yeah, whatever. But there's some things that like I was like, okay, well, other people would disagree with that. So like, there's a little
yeah.
bit of something of tension for everyone in this game. I feel like if you were like talking
On yeah.
politically correctness, but also like the way they handle all of it is so good. It's
Yeah, well,
just
they just
very,
pretty much they made it seem like, oh, that's the world, and like that's just you gotta deal
and
with it.
it's
Like the
true. Yeah,
like
whether
Abby
or not
being
you like
transgender, they absolutely Abby being transgender, they literally did like nothing about it. They just kind of just like, oh, this is this person. And it's like they barely even touch on that topic. It's just
wait,
like, hey,
what?
this is just this person,
Wait, what did you say?
huh?
What did you say?
Abby being was it transgender?
Abby's not
Something like that?
transgender. What are you talking
What
about?
is she?
She's a girl.
The fuck happened here?
No, she's she was transgender. That's what they talk about.
No. Not Abby. Lev. Lev is transgender.
Yeah, oh, Lev was too, but there was
The ones that killed Joel.
No,
something
Abby's
else.
just Abby.
Yeah, but she was like
she's
built
a
like
very
tank.
she's a very buff, yeah, very buff lady. But I mean that's it. She worked out. Like there was nothing.
Yeah,
I don't think
and
there's
so
I don't think there's very much controversial with Abby herself, other than like her story is like a rough one.
yeah, well, and I yeah, well, that's the thing is they talk about Abby's story too, and it's just I felt like her story was just as valid as Ellie's. Like it's just the way they touched on everyone's story
Oh man, I
was
mean,
just fantastic.
in the end, I think there's a strong argument for her story being probably more impactful than Ellie's, in my opinion.
Yeah,
After playing the first game, yeah, I would say that
and it's just everyone gets so invested in Ellie and Joel and everything, and you do see Joel in the game.
a
Like
lot.
there's
You see
this,
Joel a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you do. Like it's just
You make 'em write it down.
there's a lot going on, and just it's the acting for all of them is just fantastic, and it's just it was an experience, and I felt bad because like at the towards the end I was like, gosh, I just want to kind of get this through, but I didn't. Like I just wanted to I just wanted to play more, but I just I don't know.
What
It was
what
hard.
can you be spoiler free about this? But what was your favorite part of the game? Can you say that without spoiling anything? I have a couple, I guess, personally, but I mean, I love playing fetch with the dogs. Anytime you got to play fetch with the dogs, that was my.
Did you throw it? Did you throw it where he couldn't get it?
No, is that something you can do? I tried.
Yeah,
There's
and then
this one point, guys, where
he
I
lays
have
and
this
sits down.
this plush, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to get this like stuck up on these, I don't know, like up in the wall somewhere, or rock. I don't know what we would call this area, and I couldn't get it stuck, but I tried. But yeah,
I
I
my
love the
favorite part of
dogs,
the
though.
game. I really loved the world. Honestly, like I thought the world was just so good.
It's beautiful, big.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just
Do you have a PlayStation 4 Pro?
yeah. I got a pro.
Did you have a PlayStation 4? Did you have rendering issues at all?
No, I
Okay.
didn't have hard. I didn't see any frame rate. The one biggest gripe I had is I wish it was 60 frames, but
I think
that is what it is.
I think
But
not having a pro was a little bit of a disservice to me. Where like sometimes like Ellie would pull out a map or something, and it would just be like this bad texture, and then the texture would load in. I'm like, oh, that looks good, but like it takes a second. I actually had that problem with Final Fantasy VII as well. So I think my hardware is catching up to me. It's time to get a new PlayStation. Soon.
yeah, I mm, yeah. Well, every time it rained and the wind blew certain ways or whatever it may be, and just I
Oh,
will say it's just the game looked fantastic, but it was kind of a bummer because there wasn't like much. There was no customization of anyone or anything, and it's just like in the first game you could like change their shirts, but you couldn't do that in this game.
oh yeah, that's true, isn't it? You could have like changed their outfits for like certain days in the
Yeah,
first one. That's true.
yeah. And
Um,
like you go into this game when you first start too. You go into this game it's like this is a long game, and you first start, and it doesn't like just kick you right off. It takes you like an hour or two before it's just like okay, things just got real, just went down, and then it just like stops immediately, and then it's just us living in Idaho, I was super bummed that they just go
oh, we gotta
from
go back
Jackson,
to Idaho.
Wyoming.
Not looking through
Yeah,
a
yeah,
ford. Yeah.
they just bash it out too. They just say no, Idaho. It's like they don't want to go through
No
it,
one
but they
wants to
just
make a
don't.
game
They don't
about
even like
Idaho.
say anything. They literally just go from Jackson, Wyoming to Seattle. It's just
Well,
like
they mention Idaho,
yeah, yeah.
but
I
yeah,
don't want to go through
that
Idaho
was
again.
dumb. Like, come on, Horizon Zero Dawn, I think did that too, where it was like, yeah, it's in the West, no Idaho, but Colorado's in it, and like, yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just especially like this game would have been so good for like Idaho's the perfect candidate for it, but
I think my favorite part was there's a couple flashbacks in the game. Mine was Ellie's birthday's flashback. That was probably one of my
oh
favorite
yeah,
parts.
that was a fun surprise.
Yeah, that was very enjoyable, and just like the things you can interact with and do, and it very much gave me vibe of like
No, it's just like
immediately
why
after the first game. Like you see, this is kind of a spoiler, I guess. Ellie learns to swim, so you like get to see that like progress in her life, and just it just really felt like the first game quite often. I just very much enjoyed that part. That was probably my favorite part. Is one of the
yeah,
flashbacks.
I
Yeah.
I did really like that part too, and just everything about it was just so good. And just when Joel like gives the gift and everything, and just I agree with that part. That part there's just there's so many good memorable moments, and it's
Mhm.
hard to remember them all. It's just, but I keep going to the second half of the game was, again spoiler free. Was I just thought the second half of the game was so astronomically much better than the first half, and the first half was still really good. But the cool part about the second half is you get to see more of the world. Like you get to see more of the Seraphites or the Scars or whatever they call them, and you get to see more of the wolves or whatever the
Yeah,
Seattle
yeah,
people. And
yeah.
it's just
Well,
like it
and
makes so much.
how many times in the first half of the game did you go like, this is it? But in the second half, you were like, no, this is happen. This is it. Like, there's so
Like, what do
many
you
like,
mean? Like this is the end.
you know what? My favorite. Oh man, this is really really rough to say, but like, I loved the second half. So there's the second half of. Oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time saying it because I don't know if it's true. Seattle Day 2 on the second half.
Uh-huh.
That like entire day was insane to me, and then but like it's followed up by Day 3 in the second half, and that like those two, like that in itself, like if I had played that game and I only played those two parts, I'd be like, I have to, like, this is it, this is the game. And yeah,
So
I wish I
can
could
we
get, yeah.
can we segue to a spoiler video now? This is like it's getting really incredible, and so can we like do a halfway point, like boom?
We really need to like. I mean, okay. Let's say any final thoughts for the spoiler free part of this video.
Oh, I mean, if you can go into it spoiler free, and like even if the very particular spoiler that got spoiled at the very beginning for a ton of people, that is a huge part of the game in a sense that it almost means nothing too. It's just like that.
It's the
That is
driving
such a-
force. Yeah.
It's a minimal thing. If that's spoiled for you, the game is not ruined. You have so much more to see.
Oh yeah, no.
You have so much more to do,
Oh yeah.
and that's such a minimal part, and that's just that doesn't do anything. It's just go into it without knowing anything else, because I got that part spoiled for me as well, and so I was like, man, this sucks. I was
Well,
like, I can't believe
and
it.
honestly,
And it happened.
like good narratively speaking, like
Yeah.
I knew it was happening. I didn't have it
Oh my
spoiled
God.
for me. I avoided it, but I was like, oh yeah, it's totally happening. Like that's
Yeah,
gonna
well,
happen.
the second that like you get to a point where it's like, oh crap, this is like it's happening. Even if it wasn't spoiled, you knew what was going on.
Oh,
like,
but even-
during the game.
Even knowing what's happening, like watching it happen, you're just like, I hate this. Like I can't. Yeah. It's a big deal. No, even knowing what's going to
Yeah.
happen in the very
But
beginning. Yeah.
even if what I was saying is like, even if that's spoiled, there's so much more to the game, and it's just like, and I still recommend those people who are just like super butthurt by political agendas or whatever it may be, don't be. It's not worth it. The game is fantastic, and the people who say the game mechanically, it plays like the first one, except you can crouch or you can crawl, and the jump is pointless. The jump has nothing. It's I don't know why they made such a
There's
big deal
jump.
about jumping. It really it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything. It's just it's pointless.
Yeah, actually, I didn't find like oftentimes I cared about jumping at all. I'd be
No,
like, oh, I
it's-
probably need to jump here, and that's like
even
all
with
the time I
Nathan
do it.
Drake jumping as much as he did, his jump was relatively pointless too. It's because anyways, but it's just play the game. You'll absolutely love it.
Yeah,
And
if you're on the fence, if you want a beautiful narrative experience, maybe beautiful, a powerful narrative experience, absolutely, Naughty Dog delivers again.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna back them all the way to the end of time with just their storytelling. This is a mature
Literally,
game though,
that's
so if
funny.
you're like a 13-year-old, wait. But I wouldn't let my 13-year-old. I don't have a 13-year-old, but I wouldn't let one if I had one play it. But
Yeah. So segueing.
yeah, so hold on.
let's just-
Let's just close here. This is going to be the spoiler-free section of the thing. So if you joined us for this, just thank you for watching. I am Z.
And IMF.
All right.
Make
thank
sure you subscribe
like,
and like
comment,
our
and
video.
subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
See ya, guys, on the next video.
Peace out.
Please. Oh, God.